Landscapes. Beautiful landscapes are generally formed due to different shapes of land. For example, the Himalayas is a landscape. It includes rivers, streams, forest of terrain, and its pilgrimage like Amarnath and Kedarnath, etc., which can be considered landscapes. The landscapes have greatly influenced the profession of the people, their lifestyle, customs, and way of life. Since ancient time, Himalayan range has been a part of Indian heritage. Rivers. The rivers of India played a very important role from ancient time till today. Even our Indian culture has flourished on the rivers banks of Ganga, the Yamuna, the Ravi, and other rivers. The rivers like the Ganga, the Yamuna, the Saraswati, the Sindh, the Kaveri, the Narmada, and the Godavari, etc., have influenced people of India. Rivers are the source for drinking water, household use, irrigation, etc. Landscapes scenes at dawn and dusk are very fascinating on the side of the river. These are inspiration for artists and have enriched the lives of the people by developing the aesthetic sense. Vegetation. The trees like banyan, pipal, neem, tulsi, etc., considered as holy and treated with great respect. Since ancient time, the green fields, prosperous forest, and medicinal plants have enriched Indian culture. Grains and cereals, oilseeds, myrobalan, tulsi, ardusi, etc., proved to be very useful. Flowers like rose, mechelia, daisy, lotus, sunflower have made human life beautiful, useful, and prosperous. It has deeply influenced our social, economical, and religious life. Wildlife. Indians love nature and animals since ancient times. Indians have realized the importance of wildlife. Elephants, rhinoceros, tiger, leopard, wolf, deer, bear, lion, stag, etc. They have contributed greatly in making Indian culture different. It is a well-known fact that the value of the tusk of a dead elephant and the leather of a dead tiger and lion is more. But we have realized that their values. So, for the preservation of wildlife, laws are framed and sanctuaries are established. Now, let's talk about the second type of heritage of India, that is cultural heritage. The cultural heritage that India has gifted to the world is also prosperous, rich, and varied. Cultural heritage is a man-made heritage. Whatever man obtains or creates with his intellect, skills is called cultural heritage. Indian people since the prehistoric period have contributed a lot to the people of the world. For example, sculptures is a 5,000 years old ancient art. The remains of the Indus Valley civilization can be taken as the evidence of this. The remains of the figures of gods and goddesses, human figures, animals, and several toys, as well as sculptures of a man with beard, the statue of a dancer, are the example of rich cultural heritage. Further, when we look at the bullock or lion on an inverted lotus of modern era, the statue of Gautam Buddha in a meditative mood, the caves of Ajanta Ellora of Rashtrakuta dynasty, etc., we feel glad and proud, show a great respect to our cultural heritage of India. In our cultural heritage, palaces, buildings, sculptures, stupas, viharas, chaitya, temples, mosques, tombs, domes, forts, gates, etc. are the architectural monuments of India. Cultural heritage of Gujarat. To understand this concept, let us watch a short video.
First up in our tour of Gujarat's World Heritage Sites is the historic city of Ahmedabad. Founded in 1411 as the capital of Gujarat, a purpose that it actually still serves today, the old core of Ahmedabad still exists in many places. The highlight here are the Pol, clusters of houses that serve as tiny neighbourhoods in their own right. Complete with houses, shops, walls and gates, the Pols were originally created to stifle religious tensions between Muslims and Hindus. These days, the Pols serve as little reminders of the city's rich history. Ahmedabad is also home to several fascinating temples and mosques, most of which are still in use. Next up is Rani Ki Vav, or the Queen's Stepwell. So, stepwells are a type of underground water storage facility unique to this part of India. Rani Ki Vav is one of the largest and probably the most beautiful. It was built in around the 10th or the 11th century, and it reaches an impressive depth of 27 meters underground. The walls and the pillars are all covered in intricate decorations, some of them religious and some of them secular, but they all have incredible detail and artistry. Interestingly, the carvings on site are all original and in mostly pristine condition too, as the stepwell was buried by river silt centuries ago, and it was actually only rediscovered in the 1980s, which is really, really cool. Last up in Gujarat is a combination site, the Champana Pavagad Archaeological Park. This site has two components, a Hindu pilgrimage site on the Pavagad Hill and the nearby historic city of Champana dating back to the 8th century. For our visit we chose to focus on Champana, where most of the buildings date from around the 15th century during a period of Muslim rule. Here you'll find a series of impressive mosques, temples, city walls, tombs and terraces. The enormous Jama Masjid, or Congregational Mosque, is particularly impressive, built in a very typical Indian Muslim style and quite reminiscent of the buildings that we saw in Agra and Delhi. There's also large sections of the city walls and the gates remaining, which were a lot of fun to explore around. Nearby, you can also find some royal pavilions and of course stepwells too, many of which are beautifully decorated and in great condition.